The bench was new. Green paint, brass plaque, positioned perfectly under an old oak tree in the park, overlooking the pond where ducks gathered. The plaque read simply, "In loving memory of Margaret. Forever in our hearts." The bench appeared in early spring. And so did the man. Every day, exactly 3 p.m., an elderly man would arrive. Tall but stooped, silver hair, walking with a cane. He would sit on the bench, look at the pond, stay for exactly 1 hour, then leave. Every single day, rain or shine, hot or cold, the man came. Claire noticed him first in April. She was 27, a writer, struggling with her novel. She would come to the park to work, sit on a different bench, watch people, find inspiration. The old man fascinated her. His punctuality, his consistency, the way he sat so still, like he was waiting for something, or someone, always looking at the pond. Sometimes he would smile, sometimes tears would run down his weathered face, but he never missed a day. Claire began timing her park visits to see him. She told herself it was research, character study, but really, she was curious. Who was he? Who was Margaret? Why did he come every single day? She noticed details. He always brought the same things. A thermos of coffee, a paper bag with crackers. He would feed the ducks, then sit quietly, his lips moving sometimes, like he was talking to someone invisible. Other park regulars knew about him. The dog walkers, the joggers, the mothers with strollers. Everyone had theories. "I think he is waiting for his wife," one woman said. "She probably used to meet him here. Maybe she died," another suggested. "And he comes to feel close to her. Or maybe he feels guilty about something," a jogger speculated. Trying to make up for lost time. Claire wanted to know the truth. But approaching strangers felt intrusive. Especially someone clearly grieving. So she just watched. Week after week, the man came at 3. Sat for an hour. Left at 4. Then one day in June, Claire arrived early. The man was already there. But something was different. He was hunched over, shoulders shaking, clearly crying. Not the quiet tears she had seen before, but deep, wrenching sobs. Claire could not watch anymore. Could not sit by while someone suffered alone. She stood, walked over, approached carefully. "Excuse me, are you okay?" The man looked up, startled, his eyes red and swollen, embarrassed to be caught crying. He wiped his face quickly. "I am fine, thank you." Claire gestured to the bench. "May I sit?" The man hesitated, then nodded. "It is a public bench." Claire sat. They were quiet for a moment. Then, "I have seen you here. Every day. For months. You never miss." The man looked at her, surprised. "You have been watching?" "Not watching. Just noticing. I come here to write." "You are very consistent." The man almost smiled. "Consistency is all I have left." Claire looked at the plaque. "Margaret, was she your wife?" The man's eyes filled with tears again. "Yes, she was my wife, my everything, for 43 years. I am sorry for your loss." The man nodded. "Today is her birthday. She would have been 81. I always struggle more on birthdays. And anniversaries. And holidays. And Tuesdays." She loved Tuesdays. Claire felt her own tears starting. "How long has she been gone?" 4 years. 4 years. 1,460 days. I have come here every single one of those days. Except one, when I was hospitalized. Even then, I had my son bring me the day I was released. I could not break the streak." "Why here?" Claire asked gently. "Why this bench?" The man looked at the pond. "Because this is where we met. 60 years ago. I was 21. She was 18. I was feeding ducks. She asked if she could share my crackers. I said yes. We sat on a bench. Right here. This exact spot. And we talked for 4 hours. I knew that day I would marry her. And I did. 2 years later." Claire's heart ached. "That is beautiful." She loved this pond, the man continued. "We would come here every week. Our whole marriage. It was our place. Where we came to celebrate good news. where we came to grieve bad news, where we came just to be together. And when she got sick, when she knew she was dying, she made me promise. Promise me you will keep coming here. Keep feeding the ducks. Keep sitting on our bench. I will be there with you. Every day. Promise. And I promised. So I come. Every day. Because I promised. And because she is here. I feel her here. Claire was crying now. That is the most beautiful thing I have ever heard. The man smiled sadly. She was the most beautiful thing I ever knew. And I miss her. Every second. Every breath. But here, for 1 hour, I get to be close to her again. So I come. And you will keep coming? The man nodded. Until I die. Then maybe my children will scatter my ashes here. With hers. And we will feed the ducks together. Forever. Over the following weeks, Claire and the man, his name was Henry, became friends. She would arrive at the park at 3. Sit with him on Margaret's bench. Listen to his stories. Henry told her everything. About meeting Margaret in this park. About their courtship. About the small wedding. About the tiny apartment they could barely afford. About the struggles. The jobs. The dreams. We were so poor, Henry said, laughing at the memory. Our first Christmas, we could not afford presents. So we wrote each other letters. Describing what we wished we could give. I wrote her pages about the house I would buy her. The vacations we would take. The life we would build. She wrote me about the family we would have. The love we would grow. The old age we would share. We kept those letters. Read them every year. Most of those dreams came true. Not the way we imagined. But they came true. Henry spoke about their children. 2 sons. Both living far away now. Good men. Busy with their own families. They called often. Visited when they could. But they did not understand why Henry came to the park every day. They think I am dwelling, Henry explained. That I should move on. Date again. They set me up with widows. Nice women. But I am not interested. How can I move on from 43 years? How can I replace irreplaceable? You do not have to move on, Claire said. You just have to keep living. And you are. In your own way. Henry smiled. You understand. Margaret would have liked you. Claire learned about Margaret through Henry's stories. She was a teacher. Elementary school. 2nd grade. She loved it. Loved children. Henry would describe her patience. Her creativity. Her ability to make every child feel special. She had this way of seeing people, Henry said. Really seeing them. Not just the surface. But the heart. She saw me. A clumsy boy feeding ducks. And she saw someone worth loving. That was her gift. They traveled. Not extensively. They did not have the money. But they found ways. Road trips. Camping. Small adventures. Every place held memories Henry could recount in detail. Montana. 1985. We saw a bear. Margaret was terrified but fascinated. She made me stop the car. We watched it for 20 minutes. She said she felt connected to something bigger. Something wild and free. She always said that trip changed her. Made her braver. Henry told Claire about the cancer. Pancreatic. Diagnosed too late. Only 6 months from diagnosis to death. Those were the hardest 6 months of my life, Henry said quietly. Watching her fade, knowing I was losing her. But also the most precious. Because we knew. We had time to say everything. To finish our story properly. So many people do not get that. We did. She died in my arms. At home. In our bed. Looking at me. Smiling. Her last words were, "See you tomorrow." Like she was just going to work. Like she would be back. And I believed her. I still believe her. Did she ask you to come here? Claire asked. To the park? Henry nodded. Her last week. We could not come here anymore. She was too weak. She cried about it. Said she would miss the ducks. Miss our bench. So I promised. I would come for both of us. I would keep our spot warm. And I have. For 4 years. And I will for however long I have left. What do you do when you are here? Claire asked. You sit so quietly. I talk to her, Henry admitted. In my head. Sometimes out loud if no one is around. I tell her about my day, about our sons, about the world, about how much I miss her. And I listen for her voice. I swear sometimes I hear it. On the wind, in the rustling leaves, calling me honey, telling me she loves me. I know it is just my imagination, but it brings comfort, so I listen. Claire found herself coming to the park every day now. Not to write, but to sit with Henry, to hear about Margaret, to witness devotion that most people only read about in books. Henry's love had not diminished, had not faded. 4 years later, it burned just as bright. You must have had a rare love, Claire observed one day. Henry thought about that, then shook his head. No, I do not think it was rare. I think many people love this deeply. But not everyone honors it after death. Not everyone remembers. Not everyone keeps promises. That is what makes it seem rare. Not the love itself, but the commitment to it. Claire thought about her own relationships. Casual, temporary, nothing like what Henry described. Do you think that kind of love still exists? For young people? Henry looked at her kindly. Love always exists. It is not the world that change. It is commitment. People give up too easily now. They think love should be effortless. But real love is work. Daily work. Margaret and I fought. We struggled. We hurt each other sometimes. But we never quit. We chose each other. Every day. For 43 years. That is what made it last. Claire felt something shift inside her. She had been cynical about love. Thought it was overrated. A fairy tale. But watching Henry, seeing his grief, his devotion, his daily ritual, she understood. Love was real, and it was worth fighting for. As summer turned to fall, Claire continued meeting Henry at the bench. Their friendship deepened. Henry became like a grandfather to her. Wise, kind, patient. He would ask about her writing, her life, her dreams. You remind me of Margaret, Henry told her one day. Not in looks, but in spirit. You see people. You care about their stories. That is a gift. Claire felt honored, humbled. She had started writing about Henry, about Margaret, about love that transcends death. It was the best thing she had ever written. One October afternoon, Henry did not come. 3 p.m. arrived. No Henry. Claire waited. 3:30. 4. Still no Henry. She felt panic rising. He had never missed. Not in the 7 months she had known him. She did not have his phone number. Did not know his address. She only knew him here. On this bench. She sat until dark, hoping, praying, but he did not come. The next day, Claire arrived early. Waited. 3 p.m. Still no Henry. She asked other park regulars. No one had seen him. Then, on the third day, she saw Henry's son, walking toward the bench, carrying something. Claire ran over. Is Henry okay? The son, Michael, looked sad. Dad had a stroke 3 days ago. He is in the hospital. Stable. But he could not come. He was so upset. Made me come here. To represent him. To keep the promise. Michael held up the paper bag. Crackers. For the ducks. And he brought a thermos of coffee. Claire felt tears streaming. He sent you to keep his vigil. Michael nodded. Sat on the bench. Looked at the pond. I never understood this. Why Dad came here every day. I thought it was obsessive. Unhealthy. But now, sitting here, I get it. I can feel Mom. Her presence. Her love. Dad was not being morbid. He was keeping her alive. The only way he knew how. They sat together. Fed the ducks. Talked about Margaret. About Henry. About love that endures beyond death. When can I visit him? Claire asked. Michael gave her the hospital information. She went that evening. Found Henry in bed. Weak but alert. He smiled when he saw her. You came. Of course. And Michael went to the bench. For you. The ducks were fed. Henry's eyes filled with tears. Good. Good. I could not break the promise. You did not. It was kept. That is what matters. Henry took Claire's hand. I need to ask you something. A favor. Anything. If I cannot go back. If I am not strong enough. Will you go? To the bench? Will you sit there sometimes? 3 p.m. Will you feed the ducks? For Margaret? For me? Claire was crying now. I will. I promise. But you will get better. You will go back yourself. Henry smiled weakly. Maybe. But if not, promise me, do not let the bench be empty. Someone needs to remember. Someone needs to keep the love alive. I promise, Claire said. Henry squeezed her hand. You are a good person. Margaret would love you. Take care of her bench. Take care of our spot. It matters. More than you know. Henry did recover. Slowly. After 2 months, he returned to the park. Not every day. His health would not allow it. But 3 days a week. And on the days he could not come, Claire went. At 3 p.m., with crackers and coffee, sitting on Margaret's bench, feeding the ducks, keeping the promise. Other park regulars noticed. The young woman who now shared the vigil. Who sat quietly. Who honored a love she had only heard about. Some asked her about it. She would tell them Margaret's story. Henry's devotion. The importance of remembering. Slowly, others began joining. Not every day, but occasionally. People would sit on the bench, feed the ducks, think about their own loves, their own losses. Margaret's bench became a place of healing, of connection, of love. Henry wept when he heard. She is helping more people now than when she was alive. That is exactly what she would want. Henry passed away peacefully in his sleep 18 months after the stroke. 84 years old, his son scattered his ashes at the pond, just as he had wished. With Margaret, together again, Claire was there, along with dozens of others. Park regulars who had heard the story, who had been moved by Henry's devotion, who wanted to honor both Henry and Margaret. Michael gave a eulogy. My father loved one woman, my mother, for his entire life. And when she died, he did not stop loving her. He just found a new way to show it. Every day at 3 p.m. on this bench, for 4 years. That is devotion. That is commitment. That is love in its purest form. He looked at Claire, and thanks to a young woman who cared enough to ask why, my father's story will not be forgotten. This bench will not be empty. Because Claire has promised to continue the vigil. And she has inspired others to join her. Claire spoke next. I met Henry 7 months before he had his stroke. I was a stranger. He owed me nothing, but he shared his story, his love, his grief, and it changed me. I was cynical about love, thought it was temporary, fragile, but Henry and Margaret proved me wrong. Their love lasted 60 years together, and 4 years apart, and now it continues. In everyone who sits on this bench, in everyone who feeds the ducks, in everyone who remembers. That is immortality, not living forever, but being remembered forever. After the memorial, Claire established a small group. Friends of Margaret's bench. They created a schedule. Someone would be at the bench every day at 3 p.m. Different people, different stories, but all united by Henry and Margaret's example. Claire came most often. 3 times a week, she would sit, feed the ducks, write. She finished her novel there. A love story inspired by Henry and Margaret. It became a bestseller. She donated the proceeds to a bench fund, installing memorial benches throughout the city. Places for people to remember, to grieve, to love. Each bench had a plaque, with a name, and below, in loving memory. Loved deeply, remembered always. Claire met her husband at Margaret's bench. He was there one day, sitting quietly. She asked why. He told her about his grandmother, how she loved parks, how he came here to feel close to her. They talked for hours, fell in love, married 2 years later. Henry and Margaret's bench at their wedding, a symbol of enduring love. Years passed. Claire brought her children to the bench, taught them about Henry and Margaret, about love that lasts, about keeping promises, about showing up every day. One day, her daughter asked, "Mama, why do we come here?" Claire smiled, picked up the crackers. Because a long time ago, 2 people met on this spot. And they loved each other so much that even death could not stop it. And that love inspired others, including me. including you. And now it is our job to keep it going. To remember, to honor, to show the world that love does not end. It transforms, it spreads, it continues. They fed the ducks together. 3 generations, sitting on Margaret's bench, continuing the vigil, keeping the promise. And somewhere, Claire believed, Henry and Margaret were watching. Together again, smiling, grateful that their love story did not end with their deaths, but spread like ripples across a pond, touching countless lives, inspiring devotion, proving that true love really is eternal. Because some love stories do not end. They just change form, from 2 people, to a bench, to a ritual, to a community, to a legacy. And in a quiet park, under an old oak tree, by a pond where ducks gather, love continues. Every day at 3 p.m., someone sits, someone remembers, someone feeds the ducks, and Henry and Margaret live on, forever in our hearts, and on their bench.